in Bellagio right now. So there is a YouTube video out there. I think the series is called Cheating Vegas, and one of the episodes is on counterfeiting casino chips. So the way it happened was that back in the day, chips were different colors but the same pattern. So let me show you what I mean. So when I say pattern, this is what I mean. Here's a green chip from Aria, $25 chip. Some people just call them greens. In addition to the green though, there are these 3 spots that have colors that are not green. 1 o'clock on the chip, at 5 o'clock on the chip, and at 9 o'clock. There are these 3 markings. Each location of the 3 has the same marking. 2 marks, each one with its own color. There's a little bit of red and then a little bit of orange. And those are the 3 spots that are not green that make up the pattern of the chip. So instead of creating your own chips from scratch, what these guys did was they just painted over the lower denomination chips to make them higher denomination chips. In addition to the paint, they had to replace, you know, that circle in the middle that said what the value was, but they said that was the easy part. If a $1 chip were mostly white with a little black markings on the edge, and you wanted to turn it into a $100 chip, a black chip, well, there was some black already on the chip. So you could use that, and you didn't have as much work to do. It wasn't a total color change, because the color from one chip was one of the colors of the higher denomination chip. And you hear most of this information if you watch that YouTube video, Cheating Vegas, Counterfeiting Chips, something like that, something very close to that title. What they don't tell you, which you might be able to deduce on your own, but what they don't say explicitly is how the casinos reacted to this scheme and how they made it a lot more difficult to counterfeit chips in this way. I'll show you how casinos are protecting themselves against that now. So let's look at these $5 chips, $25 chips, and $100 chips from Aria and Bally's. This is how easy it was in the past. Not that it was incredibly easy, but what you could do in the past and what happened in the past. Say this $100 chip from Aria, instead of these alternating white and green markings around the edge, say it just had a small red spot at like 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and 11 o'clock, something like that. Well, this $5 chip is red already. It's mostly red. So you could just keep red in a few spots and paint the rest of it black, and then it would look a lot like this chip. Now you can't do that. For one, there's way more markings. The $100 chip at Aria has 8 markings. The $5 chip only has 4. Also, they're smart with the colors. There's no red around the outside of the $100 chip, so you would have to do a lot more work to turn this red $5 chip into a black $100 chip and try to counterfeit it. So the patterns are different. The $5 chip has these 4 one-color markings. The $25 chip has these 3 two-color markings, and the $100 chip has these 8 one-color markings. And it's the same at Bally's. The $5 chip, 4 one-color markings. The green chip at Bally's, might be tough to see this blue, but white and blue, 3 two-color markings. And the $100 chip at Bally's, 4 one-color markings, and a slightly different design than the one-color markings on the $5 chip. Also, none of the colors make it easy to turn a very low denomination chip into a very high denomination chip anymore. So there you are. It's tough to think of everything the first time around. First time they made chips, they were a little vulnerable to this guy, this 2-person team who was counterfeiting chips. After they found out what was happening, now they have protected themselves a lot more, the casinos. So there you have it. Not that I think a lot of you out there were gonna try to counterfeit chips, but it's interesting. A lot of the time I spend at the table playing, I'm aware of those patterns on the chips because I know it's a result of the counterfeit scheme and the reaction to it.
Yeah, I got it at the stadium in May.